mechanism that says we will always do things that are move towards what's good for us and away from the things we perceive as being not good for us.
All right, well, that is not worded correctly. The motivational mechanism doesn't make you move toward things that are good for you. It makes you move toward things you believe are good for you. Big difference. Big difference. Belief is the key. So you may not move toward things that are good for you because you have a belief that the alternative is worse. So pay attention to the idea of how the motivational mechanism actually works. It doesn't make you move toward things that are good for you. It makes you move toward things you believe are good for you, which may not be the case. So you have to have real honesty within yourself about why you are choosing what you're choosing and whether you're really choosing it out of anxiety or excitement and covering up the anxiety with what seems to be excitement so you don't have to look at the anxiety, so that you don't have to face the idea that you may be holding on to a belief that choosing what is actually good for you would actually make something happen that is worse than what you're choosing now, even though it may not necessarily be in your best interest. So be clear in your understanding of how the motivational mechanism actually functions.
And so this person is mentioning that they think they understand the formula, but one part of it is still unclear. And that is, how does the formula tie in with good habits, discipline, and on a larger scale, routines, structures, jobs? Does following one's excitement mean disregarding all structures and routines? Is the formula inherently spontaneous and impulsive?
No. As I say, the formula contains the organizing principle of synchronicity. The organizing principle, that phrase alone implies structure. But it's the structure that works for you. It's the structure that allows you to flow. It's a structure, paradoxically, that allows for spontaneity. But it is still a pattern. It's still a structure. But it feels less like a structure because you're flowing within a structure that's natural for you. So you don't feel the resistances that often come with the artificial structures you impose on yourselves that are not natural for who you are. That's why it doesn't feel like a structure, because it's the structure that fits you.
Okay, thank you. And how do I find the purpose of my life? How do I find my excitement?
As I said, you can start small. The fact that you're asking that question is a representation that you have found your excitement for that moment, because obviously it was more exciting than any other choice to ask that question. So you can do the same thing in the next moment. What's the next thing that has a little bit more excitement, curiosity, attractiveness than any other choice? Start simply. Keep it simple. Again, when we talk about finding your passion and your excitement, we don't mean that you have to be jumping up and down and running around like crazy. It doesn't mean it has to come with trumpets and angels singing. It means, what's the next thing I have the ability to act on that has more attractiveness than any other choice? That's simple. Taking a walk, reading a book, eating a meal, talking to a friend, creating something, whatever it is, asking a question of someone like you just did, whatever it is that has more attractiveness, that feels like the next thing you really, really feel like doing, do it. And keep doing that. It will build, it will snowball into other expressions of your excitement, as long as you keep checking yourself to make sure that you're actually acting on excitement and not acting on anxiety disguised as excitement.
And this idea of the end justifying the means, and that would be that it seems like the higher mind has an attitude of the ends justify the means. So for people with especially hard themes, that includes a total forgetting of any spiritual truths. What are your thoughts on this?
It's not that the higher mind has an end justifies the means position. That's a human interpretation. The idea is the soul understands what it's going to get out of the experience and is doing its job of guiding the physical mind within it in such a way as to send it the guidance it needs in order for the physical mind to have an experience that allows it to face challenges that are beneficial to it, to allow it to expand, to allow it to grow, to allow it to have a fulfilling and joyful life experience. The only reason it appears as if the end justifies the means is because of the perspective of the physical mind that is harboring and holding on to belief systems that are out of alignment with its core frequency. So, the idea that it seems too hard to bear, as we discussed already, comes from the linear perspective, not from the soul perspective. The soul is doing its best to send you messages of passion, but the physical mind has the ability and the free will to ignore it. And it is in ignoring that guidance from the soul that the physical mind then says, oh, this looks like the end justifies the means because I am being subjected to these horrible, torturous experiences, instead of allowing yourself to understand what we have shared with you about the formula that allows you to remain in a positive state no matter what happens, so you can always get a benefit from it. That's why that step is in there, so that you can understand how this works, so that you can experience a life of challenge in a positive way that allows you to expand and experience the benefits of facing those challenges, rather than feeling overwhelmed or feeling that the soul is somehow torturing you by putting you in a situation that's too much for you. It's not. You're putting yourself in the situation that makes it appear to be too much for you by not following the formula, by not opening up to the idea that challenges can be positive, by not feeling worthy, by forgetting who you are. That's what the soul may have chosen to start with, but it has always given you the opportunity to pay attention to what you can actually use to go through the experience from beginning to end that actually will help you learn and grow and experience a life of fulfillment and joy.
And when you see things on a screen, let's say that synchronistically are an important message, like from the lyrics of a song or anything related to sudden communication coming in written form like that on a screen, do the souls that are generating that information know that they are delivering that information to you? And are their souls literally trying to communicate and encourage me?
Yes. It could be your own soul, could be your own higher mind, but it can also be your spirit guides, members of your soul family, members of the angelic realm, other ETs, other dimensionals that are using synchronicity to deliver information that will help you. So yes, it's a deliberate act of connection and communication from whatever the source is to help you out. The fact that you experience the synchronicity means it is for you. Now, synchronicities can be holographically multidimensional, and synchronicities can serve many different people simultaneously. If more than one person is experiencing the synchronicity, there may be messages in there for all the people experiencing it. And that, again, is a deliberate act that may be coming from many different sources in a multidimensional way. But the bottom line is, yes, it's a message for you.
And so when you are, or an individual is hearing information from another person, and they're seeing that the person is giving them a nonsensical belief, but they're buying into it, but the individual listening is buying into it, is a result of not knowing themselves that they
Yes.
would do that?
Yes. That's why it's so important to know yourself, to know what is truly working for you and what is not, to take what advice allows you to grow and be self-empowered, and leave behind those things that don't. It's learning that discernment. That's one of the lessons of physical reality, learning what is and isn't truly you. And that's why you can always use what isn't you to help you understand more clearly what is you.
And why are we experiencing this physical form? Can we experience similar limitations in another form? Why this one now?
There are some other forms in which you can experience the idea of limitations, but as we have said, the Earth cycles is one of the more concentrated places to experience this idea of limitation. And therefore it means, as we have said, it's a master graduating class. You have decided to take a class that allows you to really stretch and exercise the powers you know you have accumulated in the growth of the soul up to this point. So in other words, you don't choose to stay in kindergarten or first grade forever. You say, all right, let's move on to the second grade and the third grade and the fourth grade. I'm going to learn more. I'm going to push myself. I'm going to challenge myself. Otherwise, it would be, quote unquote, boring to do the same thing over and over again. Let's see, where can I find something that's a real interesting challenge? Oh, look at what's going on Earth. Let's do that. We're ready for that. We're ready to really accelerate our growth. We're really ready to learn some interesting things because that's the school that offers it. That's why people choose to go to college. That's why people choose to have master's degrees, PhDs. They want to continue to learn and grow and stretch and expand. Earth is one of those places where you can really do some expanding if you get the point, if you learn what the class is all about, if you're willing to learn the lesson.
When the Earth School began, for humans, I suppose,
Yes.
how did that whole thing get created? Was that like a convergence of a multitude of consciousnesses
Yes.
coming together and thinking this up, or as a
Yes.
continuation of a whole
Yes.
galactic story? Is that
Yes. 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 Groups of individuals, groups of souls, councils of souls, soul families, everyone participates in the creation of an experience like a planet called Earth and similar planets and all planets. It is created on a very high level by consensus through different groups of souls as to what would be interesting and exciting for the souls to experience to continue the idea of their expansion and their growth. Yes, it's a part of the evolution of existence itself. Souls come together on different levels, in different frequencies, and they agree to create these things. Just like someone might decide to come together to create a theme park. Well, I need these people to come together. I need those people that know how to do that to come in. We need these souls to come in who know how to do that and suggest this and suggest that. And before you know it, there it is. And now we can all share in it.
and it seems like the prime directive that souls experience, in a sense, is the idea of expansion, growth.
Yes.
This seems to be the most fundamental desire, I guess, of
Yes.
the
It is the impetus of existence. You have to understand what infinite actually means. Infinity has a momentum. So the idea is that existence itself provides the momentum by its very existence to continue to fill infinity. It's attempting to be all that it is. That attempt to be all that it is. It is all that is, but it also contains the attempt to be all that it is. That's the active principle. So there's the structure, and then there's the active principle. That's why you see in our family sigil the triskelion, the triangle with the spiral in it. There is the structure represented by the triangle, but there is the active principle. That's what you call the act of creation, the act of being. So that creates that sensation, that momentum, that urge, that drive, that desire to fill it all up, to fill infinity, to know yourself on every possible level, and it's infinite. So it's that drive to know yourself, to be yourself, and the act of becoming and being yourself that continues that expansion. It's
And
the
you've
nature,
described in the
it's the
past that
active nature, it's the active nature of existence. There's the structural nature of existence and the active nature of existence, what you call creation.
so, like you've described in the past, I guess the idea of terraforming planets and moving planets, that level of consciousness that's capable of things that
Yes.
are beyond, in our minds, beyond our wildest dreams of what is possible.
Well, there are levels
Um,
to that idea. There can be terraforming projects, as you call it, that can take a planet body, a form that already exists, and convert it through technology to something that might be more compatible to certain forms of life. That's one level of it. What we were talking about is the actual creation of an experience going from the spirit level into the physical level on a huge consensus level reality of co-creation by many different souls to actually bring the very idea of the planet into physical existence in much the same way that you bring the physical mind into existence at the center of the soul. So there is a consensus level on a greater level, again, greater than even what you typically refer to as the oversoul. That's an oversoul of oversouls of oversouls that actually comes together to create within the center of its being a physical experience that contains the experience of many souls on what you call a planet. It's a larger version, a much larger version of creating a single physical identity. It's a consensus identity within a much larger oversoul. That's what a planet is. A consensus identity of many souls within an amazingly large oversoul consciousness at the center of its being.
it's amazing.
Yes.
So we have some questions that relate to the Interstellar Alliance ID card.
Yes.
One of them was, what do the 5 stars on the Interstellar Alliance ID card represent?
The 5 hybrid races that already exist.
And you provided that as step 4. Is it okay to translate the words on the card into a foreign language so they can use the card more easily in areas where English is not native?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And since the Greys initiated the hybrid agenda together with the Mantids, resulting in the Sasani, Yael, and other races with open contact in its final stages, it would seem that the role of the Greys themselves would be over. Yet many contactees still feel an active connection and interest in them in their particular Grey counterparts, even today. And what are these Grey counterparts seeking to experience in the unfolding of open contact, which they themselves initiated so long ago through their
We
own
must
romantic.
remind you, we must remind you to stop talking about the Greys as if there's only one single faction. There are many factions of Greys. The different factions have different agendas, come from different places, different times, different parallel realities, are at different stages of the entire process, even though they may be interacting with your planet or different versions of it. So you are experiencing, based on your vibration, different stages of the idea of interactions with Greys, different points in their evolution, and therefore it depends upon what's going on in your vibration that will determine what faction of Greys you may still or not be still interacting with. That's all we can say right now about that. But don't treat the Greys as if there's only one faction that you're dealing with.
Okay, and this person says they were told that reptilian beings are dangerous in the Sedona area at this time. Is
No,
that
no,
accurate?
no. It is not correct.
Okay. Are there a lot of misunderstandings about I guess, reptilians, and are
Yes.
they,
As I've said
are
before,
they,
they are a certain kind of species that invokes in the limbic system of your physical brain the idea of a fight or flight response because of the nature of their vibration, because you look at them as predatory, because that's the way you relate to the idea of reptilian DNA. And therefore, humans, mammalians, have a fight or flight survival fear-based response to exposure to the reptilian vibration. It doesn't mean they actually intend to do you harm. It's just the nature of their frequency as it relates to the nature of the mammalian frequency that represent human beings.
Consciousness to expand into other dimensions, other realms of spirit, other vibrational frequencies, and allow you to make genetic connections, open up the markers, the genetic markers in your system, so that they are all aligned in a way to allow you to make more connections with more awareness and more consciousness to the spirit realm, your spirit guides, your angelic team, soul family, so on and so forth, plus the consciousness of the beings, the sentient beings that surround you on earth, the animals, the trees, the elementals, so on and so forth. So they open up doorways to other forms of communication with other levels of consciousness that exist in your reality, but in general remain invisible to most of humanity who don't allow those doors to open.
Thank you.
So that it creates a new kind of open contact with all the different beings and species of your own planet.
Wow. What are some of the genetic markers that I might study?
Look to the mitochondrial DNA. This is one of the strongest ways to understand where you are going and where you've come from. And it is also one of the strongest symbols that represents the idea of the balancing of feminine energy in your society at this time.
Would you be more specific about where in the mitochondrial DNA one might look?
No.
Thank you. That is very helpful.
Anything else?
Oh, yes.
One moment. In what area will you practice?
I've been having a clinical practice right now where I am responsible for holding the space and container, helping individuals prep, and then administering the medicine, specifically ketamine, because
I
it's
am
legal.
asking you what location on your planet.
I'm in New Orleans, and I'll be relocating to Madison, Wisconsin, to work with a nonprofit institute there.
What is the name of your child?
Jasmine?
Another name from nature, like the hybrid children that will come to live among you. Are you planning to have another child?
Yes.
By the name of Madison,
That would be beautiful.
since that's where you're moving?
Yeah?
All right.
Can you tell me more about my children?
As I said, they are a new species. They are more genetically connected. They are more willing to remember who they are. They are more willing to remember themselves as spirits, as souls, having a human experience. So learn from them as they grow. Learn from who they are speaking with that you may not see at first, bringing through information that can be of great help and great assistance to your practice. For they have made an agreement to help you in this way.
Thank you. Would you be willing to tell me more about my lineage?
No.
Am I a hybrid?
All humans are hybridized. That's what Homo sapiens are. Remember, long ago, the Anunnaki introduced their genetic material into the natural hominid that existed and evolved on your planet to create Homo sapiens sapiens. So you are all hybridized. And you have been hybridized since then, especially those that are part of the hybridization program. Your genetics have been, shall we say, refined to allow you more ability to connect to spirit, to allow you more ability to connect to each other telepathically, emotionally, compassionately, empathetically. So continue. Again, this is one of the reasons why we give you all the formula. It helps enhance what has already been given to you genetically. It helps raise those frequencies and allows you and your genetics to operate in an optimum fashion. Is this helping you?
This is very helpful. A question about that with the elements for life. Why is light not included?
Which elements are you referring
For
to?
sustaining life, air, water, sleep, and so forth?
Well, because you are light, but we're
Okay.
talking about the idea of what helps you thrive as a physical being.
I see. I was visited by a spacecraft in 2015 over the water in Palos Verdes, and I would like to know more about that encounter. Do you have any information about who visited me, the intent, and...
Even though it was over the water, it was what you call a dry run. For what we have described in the last transmission about UFOs appearing just offshore over water, so that you get a chance to simply observe them at arm's length until you are comfortable. Then they will come closer.
Is there an ET named Kasabian trying to make contact with me?
You give the names that are resonant vibrational symbols that mean something to you, that align with you. Most don't have names as you understand them. But you can use that as a vibrational symbol if it links you to that particular entity or frequency. One moment. You are very strongly connected to Pleiadian energy, and it is probably a Pleiadian craft that you saw.
Yes, that would make sense.
There are some birds in the audience. Or should we say avian dinosaurs? Will that do?
A few more questions specific.
No, not a few.
Okay. I'm very interested in the biological and belief-based reasoning behind many physical conditions.
Yes.
Would you be willing to tell me more about the biological and belief-based basis behind severe myopia and a few other conditions, please?
Well, it depends on the person and the reason they may have created that for themselves.
My severe myopia?
I cannot discuss health issues. It is not allowed. But the idea in general is to look at the symbology of what it is you are experiencing that you otherwise wouldn't learn if you hadn't that condition.
Right.
That's how to look at it.
Beautiful, thank you. Would you be willing to share a song from your culture?
At another time.
Okay. I'm very curious about what, if anything, you sing your young ones to sleep with. Some of our nursery rhymes don't resonate
We don't
with me.
sleep.
What you sing or how you communicate comfort to them.
They are comforted by our existence, by our love. Understand that we are, in our civilization, one family. I don't mean genetically, although to some degree I do. But we are one family telepathically. The adults are the parents of all. The children are the children of all. We are telepathically bonded. No one is ever out of our sight. So there is that great blanket of comfort of knowing that you are always within the loving cocoon of our entire society, no matter where you go. You are always connected. That itself, in a sense, is a song. Now, you have had music played here, lovingly, wonderfully, by the beautiful individual that has given you the sounds of the flute and the sounds of the bowls. And you could say, perhaps, that you were bowled over by it. And that in repeating the flute from day to day, you experienced some flute loops. In our society, we do have percussion, we do have wind instruments, and we do have string instruments. They would sound very simple to you, however, and are usually based on the idea of beats of 3. However, even though it would sound very simplistic to your ears, because we can hear more than you can, it sounds like an orchestra to us, because we can hear more notes than you can. So if that gives you some idea of the music that you would experience in our world, then there you go.
Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Thank you.
Like it?
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I'm terribly excited to be
Oh,
speaking.
terribly excited.
Yes. And imminent contact, I want to be ready.
Speak up, speak up.
With imminent contact, I want to be ready, and I wanted to ask you about best practices physically.
Follow the formula.
I thought you were going to say that, but I have a specific question about
Yes.
our hearts.
Yes.
If I encounter an electrical field that's so much different than my human body, are there things I can do before contact to strengthen my heart, my electrical system?
Be of service to humanity in whatever way you are passionate about doing so to open up your heart and allow you to become more vibrationally compatible with those beings whose frequency you may not be compatible with right now.
Oh.
Because
okay.
it's all about being of service. It's all about connecting on that deep level of the heart, of the spirit, of the soul to others. It's about expressing compassion.
Okay.
Yes, does that help you?
It does help because I practice it with animals. I have deer come through my field and
All right.
maybe raccoons, and I try to, and birds. and-
Animals are a good practice.
Yes.
Now you can perhaps try it on humans. Remember that animals, not that they are literally angels, but animals come from the angelic realm. They are here to give you unconditional love, unconditional support, and unconditional reflection of whatever processes you may be going through, so that you can learn from them what you need to pay attention to within yourself. So giving them love can be reflected back to you to make sure you give yourself the same unconditional love, and to others as well, as you express your compassion in service to others in humanity.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I have one more question. When I was at the end of my third pregnancy, I lived in a cabin in a remote area of the forest. And one day, what looked to be a government car drove up, and two men in suits got out and came to my door. They knocked. I answered the door, and that is all I can remember about this event. And also, I'm Rh negative. I don't know if that had something to do.
Yes, it does. We will not go deeply into the idea of the Rh negative factor, though it is connected to some ancient genetics and extraterrestrial origins. But of course, the idea is that those individuals were not what you think they are, and you had an experience that was erased from your memory, an encounter that you will remember in time.
Because my daughter is here. She's in the audience, and she was the one maybe they were checking up on.
Oh, they were checking up on all of you.
That's good to know.
Remember, those that belong to the hybridization program, this exists in family lines for generations and generations and generations.
Okay. And my last question is, I live in the Black Hills of South Dakota, and could you tell me if there are vortexes there? And
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
There is also a portal that leads to another dimension that has to do with
Cosmic beings communicate telepathically, right?
I thought you said you had an interpreter.
I'm going to translate what you say.
Yeah.
So she tried to speak her own
yeah.
words in English.
Yeah.
Try to.
Do you understand when I am about to say in Japanese? 私たちがお互いの言語を使わずに意思疎通するにはどうすればいいですか?
Interpreter.
Okay.
That's
okay.
your cue.
Okay.
Remember, I am not speaking any language at all.
Sure. The
I am
question
simply
was,
sending thoughts that are translating into the language that the channel was raised to understand.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to translate that to her, but the question was, will you be able to understand what she's going to say in Japanese by telepathy? But you already answered that question right now, so I'm going to explain
Some
that.
beings will, yes. And in the telepathic contact, you may hear them in your head in your own language.
Oh, okay.
But that's not what's happening here.
Okay.
言語で
わかりますか?
バシャール
One
は
moment.
そのダリルを通じて
Yeah.
翻訳してるから、この 日本語で聞かれてもわかりませんよと。
Okay. During channeling, even when the channeler is not conscious, does the channeler's language ability limit what can be understood?
We do not understand what you said.
Okay.
Allow the interpreter to do his work.
Okay.
Yeah.
どれ
だから、チャネラーの
これでしょ
こう意識がない。うん。いや。
こっちね。チャネラーに意識がなくてもチャネラーの言語
No conscious.
で理解できる内容が。Okay, so during the channeling, Darryl has basically out of the regular consciousness level, and so, but
The channel has consciousness, it's just not focused in his normal way.
right.
Oh, okay.
And I think go back to the reply that you already gave us, but the understanding by you, Bashar, is limited or controlled by the language level or the information level understanding of the channel himself, or does it surpasses the capability of channel?
The information can surpass the channel's knowledge, but very rarely does the language surpass the channel's vocabulary, because we use the channel's vocabulary as a translation device to translate our thoughts into your language, at least one language that the channel understands. On rare occasions, we can supersede the language, but it's very rare because the channel was simply not brought up to understand other languages. So that's the limitation of the translation device that the channel functions as, but it's one of the reasons why the channel was encouraged to have a very large vocabulary even as a child, because that's the path the soul chose, so that even at 1.5, the channel was reading at an adult level.
Okay, that's clear. Thank you. Okay. I guess you understand
Okay, I
what you
see.
said, so
Yes.
just gonna skip the translation.
What are some important tips to remind people on Earth to communicate telepathically?
Again, you have to be in love. You have to be on the same wavelength.
Okay.
It's love that does it. Those that are in love know what each other are thinking because you're having the same thoughts at the same time. Remember, telepathy is not reading each other's mind. It's reading your own mind, but you know you're having the same thoughts as someone else who's on the same wavelength.
Okay, I see. And another question.
Yes?
Another question.
Maybe she doesn't need my translation.
Yeah.
She got it.
Yeah.
All right.
I
Will that
read-
do?
And more another question.
Yes.
I read the book in Japan. The book said Bashar is a star. A star is the captain of Interstellar Alliance.
I do not understand what you are saying. Please use the translator.
Okay.
Okay.
I see.
All right, so she read the book in Japan, and the book said that Bashar is actually the Ashtar.
No,
Okay, that's what I
that
thought.
is
but-
incorrect.
She wanted to ask that question to make sure that you get the
Yes.
she get the answer from you.
That is not correct.
right.
Okay. Yes.
Will that do?
Last,
大丈夫ですか?
大丈夫です。Last question. Yeah, last. Really last. Is there a star or members of Interstellar Alliance in the audience as well? Audience.
Members of the Interstellar Alliance in what?
Audience. In the audience. Huh? Yes,
Okay,
in the-
are there or is there Ashtar or the member of Interstellar Alliance in the audience right now?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Yes. So I haven't really known you that long. It was just last March that I came here and listened to your transmission. And I've been following the formula really, really seriously and listening to a lot of your transmissions.
All right.
And loving it.
All right.
And I'm noticing in my mind that I get this like Swiss cheese mind, and I'm not sure if it's part of the evolution of my brain shifting, toxicities and or other things, and I'm wondering what your
Well, what are you
perception-
describing as a Swiss cheese mind?
That I'll have thoughts, and then all of a sudden they disappear, and I have to wait for them to come back.
Yes, sometimes this can be a symptom of understanding that memory is actually created in the moment. In my civilization, we don't have a memory as you understand it. We simply know that we will know what we need to know when we need to know it, not a moment sooner, but not a moment later. Living completely and utterly in the present can simply cause that symptom to start happening until you get used to the idea that you will simply know what you need to know in perfect timing and won't need to retain it as a memory.
Okay, thank you. The other thing is, am I part of the hybrid project?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to give you all a little bit of a hint.
That we all are, since we're here and love this.
If you have found us, you are probably involved in the hybrid program in some way, shape, or form. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't be having these conversations.
And do I have the hybrid children?
It doesn't always mean that your genetics was used to create hybrid children, but it might mean your energy patterns were used as a kind of a template upon which to build the hybrid children. It may mean that you are involved in helping to teach the hybrid children how to acclimate to Earth society in certain ways, because you are very foreign to them and they don't understand how things work on Earth. So there may be many ways in which you may be involved in helping the hybrid children understand where they are coming to live.
All right. Were my nightmares as a child part of that?
Yes,
Okay.
because you didn't understand what was happening.
Right, okay. Thank you.
No, you're welcome.
Hi, Bashar.
And are you good day?
Thank you. It is a good day. I was curious when you said you were checking with people. Who are you checking with when you need to see if an answer can be given?
Many different beings. Councils, other beings that are observing Earth, beings that are in contact with the collective consciousness of your world to let us know what it is that's appropriate to say and what it is that might interfere with your particular path of evolution, so that we do not overstep our bounds.
So there's hundreds or thousands?
Thousands.
Great. No pressure. Got it. Okay, so I just found you like maybe 6-8 months ago. I really appreciate your teachings. One of your transmissions that's really helped me is letting go of limiting beliefs.
Yes.
I've been working through that quite a bit.
Oh, all right. How exciting.
Yes, it sure has been. And also Willa's teachings.
Yes.
Is she around?
Well, she is always around and accessible, even though it may or may not be appropriate for her to come through at any given moment.
So would she be listening right now?
She is aware of what is going on.
That's so cool.
It's whatever temperature you want it to be.
So our meditation last night was quite enlightening.
Yes.
I was curious if your spaceship is over us or was over us last night.
Well, it is over Bell Rock, as it has been for quite some time from your point of view.
Oh, cool. Did you see me wave at you the other night?
Let us put it this way. We felt the energy waves from all of you.
Awesome. So one of my greatest passions is working with animals.
Oh, all right.
Animal rescues specifically.
Yes.
I don't know why I'm emotional already on the sudden. A lot of my animals, they tend to get symptoms that aren't explainable.
Well, they are explainable if you understand them as reflections of the different things that humanity needs to look at within itself. Because one of the most unconditionally loving things that animals are here to do is reflect to humanity the things they need to clear out within themselves. So if you understand that they may be representative of different things that humanity needs to look at within its collective or individual society members, then you may understand what it is they are reflecting and what it is they may allow you to discover or go through that may eliminate the idea of those conditions in the future.
Okay, so when vets can't figure it out, when they don't respond to treatments in textbooks ways, they could heal themselves just kind of miraculously.
It is possible, but again, if you cannot find the reason for what's going on, you may have to look deeper for the reason. Into your psyches, into your emotions, into your belief systems. It may not be solvable by standard surface medical approaches. You may have to look deeper within.
How would you suggest I do that in my life with my
By
animals?
having honest self-investigation. It may not necessarily even always be representative of you. Just because you're interacting with them doesn't mean they're reflecting something to you personally. Sometimes they may, but sometimes they may be reflecting things that are about humanity in general. And therefore, it's giving you an opportunity to understand all the different things that humanity itself needs to look at within itself, and you can be of assistance in perhaps bringing that to the attention of humanity as to what those things represent that they need to look at.
That feels really big.
Well, yes, it is, but not bigger than you can handle, because
Okay.
you're really big too.
Okay. So I have felt a little bit held back with all of that.
Because
I feel that I need to be there for them,
beware.
be at home with my animals.
Yes?
This is the first trip I've taken in 9 years.
All right, but understand that they understand what you're doing.
They do.
Yes, of course they do. They're intelligent beings.
Yes, they really are.
Yes, I know. That's why I said it. Do you understand that they chose to be with you?
I needed to hear that.
They don't make mistakes about who they're with. The animals choose to be with you all. So if they're with you, they understand the work you're doing. And they understand that sometimes you may need to go on trips. Don't worry about it. Love them as best you can, as unconditionally as you can, and let them reflect to you what it is they need to reflect to you. But understand they chose to be with you. They will allow you to do what you need to do. They know what you're doing is benefiting all of them.
Thank you for saying that.
Of course.
Because I often feel,
Guilty?
no, I feel like people judge me.
So guilty.
Is that the same?
Well, taking on the judgments of others means you're judging yourself to be guilty of something. Otherwise, why would you accept their judgments against you if you know they're not true? In the same way that if a stranger came up to you on the street and said, "You're a bad person," you would go, "Well, that makes no sense because you don't even know who I am, so why should I pay attention? That's just your issue."
Right.
So just because you may know the people who are judging you, why should you take what they're judging you about to heart unless you're judging yourself for the same things and finding yourself to be guilty?
A limiting belief that I need to get rid of.
There you go.
Got it.
Because how does it serve you? Because you don't hold on to things that don't serve you.
Yes.
Remember, sometimes people that act like victims remain victims because they use victimhood to get what they want. Therefore, they believe being a victim serves them.
Right.
And therefore,
Well, I'm here, so
yes. But just because you're here doesn't mean you have to change. That's in your hands.
right.
So it's up to you to decide whether or not you have reached a point where you are sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yep.
All right.
May I
Yes.
ask a question about frequency and vibration?
You may ask anything you wish.
Thank you. So I Googled it, and it said that those are two different things, but I
Yes.
feel like in this context, those two terms are used interchangeably.
It can be. It depends on the context here. But again, the idea is that vibration is just an undulation. Frequency is a measured undulation of a particular vibration relative to a certain point in space and time in terms of when it passes that particular point and how many times per a measured time it does so. So one is a little bit more technical about the pace of a vibration relative to a certain fixed point in space and time, and the other is just a general term of things that are undulating
Thank you.
at any particular given rate.
And it seems as though when we talk about high vibration, high frequency versus low vibration, low frequency,
Yes.
there's a positive with the high and a negative connotation with the low.
Yes, often that's the case.
Well, going back to animals and our companion animals like cats, they purr at a lower frequency, and that's
That's
known
not
to...
the same thing.
Can you clarify it for me?
There are different kinds of resonant frequencies that mean different things in different contexts. Certain physical frequencies have nothing to do with the frequencies that we often talk about. In fact, sometimes the frequencies that we refer to in humanity are things that your science doesn't even know anything about yet. We're just giving you a general barometer of where someone may be on their journey. in terms of whether or not they're operating in flow with themselves or operating in resistance to themselves. So the idea of the way we often use frequency relating to a human being is just a very general barometer of how they're doing. And it's not necessarily as specific frequencies in physical reality that may be caused by certain functions within animals or other phenomena.
I see. Thank you.
So we understand that language is limited, and sometimes it does require clarification and a context to understand what we are referring to. So thank you for being willing to ask questions that help us clarify those ideas.
Thank you. And I was just wondering, besides our clear, budding friendship, do I have like a personal relationship with extraterrestrials?
I wonder what that answer could possibly be. Are you capable of answering the question for us?
Sure.
Is that sure you're willing to answer it, or sure you have the relationship with extraterrestrials?
Ooh, I guess I'm not sure, and that's why I'm asking.
Why wouldn't you be sure? You're talking to an extraterrestrial.
Right. What about the others?
What about the other whats?
Extraterrestrials? Or is it just a me and you thing?
Oh, you flatterer. Every human has connections to some degree with extraterrestrials. Pleiadians, Arcturus energy, hybrids, greys, Sirius beings, mantis beings, and several others that we're not necessarily allowed to talk about yet, but will arrive in the near future. Now, the idea is that not anyone that actually has those general connections energetically necessarily has a lot of extraterrestrial encounters on the path in life. It may not be that important for them to interact with that extraterrestrial energy, even though you all have those general connections. So the real question is, are you involved with extraterrestrials in more than a passing way in your particular life path?
That's a good question. What's
Well,
the
thank
answer?
The answer is yes, you are.
Cool. I love
Oh,
that.
there's that temperature again.
I know. Are there any animals in particular on Earth, that I could serve better?
Well, better how?
Providing them sanctuary?
Cats?
How did you know?
Oh, good guess.
Particularly, why cats?
Because they can see into other dimensions and they'll tell you a lot about what it is they see.
Thank you.
And there's one of them speaking up now.
Probably.
Plus, their purr vibrations are very healing.
Yes, indeed they are. Do you have cats where you come from?
We don't have pets. We have many interactions with animals, but we don't have pets in the way that humans classically think of having pets. Animals interact with us all the time, but we don't look at them as pets.
I guess I don't either.
All right. Then you really are operating as an ET.
Cool. All right. Thank you so much, Bashar.
You are
and
so
everyone
welcome.
else. I love you.
Hello, Bashar.
Good day, good day.
I'm so excited to be here, and I'm so grateful for everybody here. Also, the volunteer team that I'm a part of. It's just been such an amazing experience. So, thank you guys so much. Woo! And always, thank you for your service. You have been so instrumental in my healing, and I want to give you just a little bit of my backstory in terms of like the limitations that I have lived in, like through my own creation. Yes, I was born in a dense reality with a lot of abuse, and then I was addicted to heavy drugs, not the good psychedelic kinds, but
Sounds exciting.
Yes, for like 6 years, and then eventually I got sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Oh.
And so there came a point where I was like, okay, we have to do something different. And so today we're going on almost 5 years clean. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, what did you say? 5 years?
Yeah, what's 5 years?
How synchronous.
Woo! I just got it. That's what I'm talking about. And, back when I was on drugs, I was in and out of the justice system as a defendant, as a jailer, and I became a jailhouse lawyer. And now, guys, I'm in law school, and I actually left law school to come here because this is my highest, law school is my passion, and being able to bring consciousness into a field that so desperately needs it, it's just part of my passion because I see how a lot of people are crumbling at the seams of their beliefs and how it shows up in our behaviors.
Yes.
And so it's really cool, being in this space, and, I'm like, I'm gonna go to law school because why not? And so this is part of my joy, and this also will bring up the topic that I really want to talk about in terms of plant medicine, because Mama Aya has been such a powerful teacher. I want to be the ayahuasca lawyer, okay? I don't know how I'm going to bring it into the system, but I realized that could be a really cool program to implement for defendants, essentially, is to be able to bridge that gap. That'd be really cool, but...
Yes, do you have a question?
Yes, I do, and we're getting there. So Mama Aya told me in one of my sessions, because I'm also apprenticing under a shaman, about positive beliefs and releasing that too. And I have released a lot of negative beliefs, and I love finding beliefs. I'm like, oh, cool, something to release. But she also was saying how, there's, to some degree, healing modalities here on Earth could be boggling us down from really diving deep in that New Age spirituality. And this is not to invalidate anything, but New Age spirituality can kind of create that spiritual bypassing. And I wanted to know your take on New Age spirituality and how it can actually bypass the inner work that needs to be done in order to heal. Because as a transformational life coach, I see this with my clients where they go on these amazing trips and have all these wonderful insights and listen to you, and yet action is not translating, yes.
All right.
Okay.
In a sense, we understand what you mean by spiritual bypass. Now, technically, there's no such thing as bypassing what you agreed to experience on your life path.
Okay.
However, you can accelerate things. You can speed them up by tuning into certain spiritual concepts that allow you to function in a greater flow, to be more of yourself. And that's part of the lesson to learn as to how to experience the idea that you chose to experience on your life path. Quickly, more smoothly, or slowly, with more struggle, and so on and so forth. So it's about the idea of the speed, the scope, and things like that you can change. It's not exactly a bypass.
Got it.
But it's learning a lesson that allows you to experience what you chose to experience in a more fluid and efficient way, to learn those lessons more fully, more quickly, so that you don't necessarily have to spend any more time than it is absolutely necessary, minimally, to spend as a physical process to allow you to experience the depth of appreciation and discovery and lesson that will allow your soul to grow. So yes, you can mitigate some of it, but you will never bypass anything. But that's what spiritual bypass actually is meant by. The idea of speeding things up, learning things more quickly, recognizing the signs more quickly, sooner, that you can act on more positively, more directly, and so on and so forth. Does that help?
It helps. However, I feel like when I mean spiritual bypassing, yes, and that was all great, but the knowledge is not translating into action for some of the people that I'm working with.
Yes,
what
that's
is it?
true,
Is it
and you can't force them to do it.
Oh, absolutely. I've already given up on that idea. But what is it that's creating that gap, essentially?
Fear.
Okay.
Remember, it's love or it's fear.
Got it.
And the idea is that positive and negative is generally associated with the idea of love and fear. So in their belief systems, they're holding on to things and not taking action because they have in their motivational mechanism a belief that says that if they do take that action, they believe something worse will happen than where they are now. As uncomfortable as it may be, it feels safer than the alternative because they're defining the alternative as being worse or more dangerous or scarier.
Got it. So redefine what...
They have to look at their motivational mechanism about why they're holding on to what they're holding on to, because you don't hold on to anything you don't believe serves you. So even if it's something that you intellectually know doesn't serve you, you will still hold on to it if it's the safer alternative to what you believe would happen if you changed.
Okay.
Because you always go to what you believe serves you. You always move away from what you believe does not. Always, without fail. So the moment you see somebody holding on to something you know doesn't serve them, you know that that means they have a belief the alternative is worse. You have to find out why they would believe that and allow them to see the nonsensical attitude they have about that, or how they have learned to see that thing being so blown out of proportion that they can't understand it logically in any way, shape, or form that would allow them to move forward.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
I'll keep probing then.
Oh, all right.
For some who will allow that, of course.
But again, of course, there is the overall caveat that no matter what you share with them, what they do with it is none of your business.
None of my business, yeah. I was so attached to the results initially, and that was so exhausting. I'm like, I just do what I can, and if they match that vibration,
that's all you can do.
Yeah.
That's how you help, is you give them the option, to make a choice.
Yes.
But you cannot tell them what to do, because really, you don't know what their life path is, and you don't know what they do and don't need to learn in this life.
Very true, very true.
And remember, you're eternal infinite spirits. What's your hurry?
Right? Very good point. 2 more questions. One is about, could you tell us about the core wounds that humans grow up with? And this is that fear of abandonment.
About the what?
They're called core wounds. So the fear of abandonment is one that, like, just these conditionings essentially, but there's abandonment, there's the lack of self-love or the feeling of unworthiness.
Yes.
There seems to be a pattern that has been going on. Like, what created this, and how?
Forgetting who you are. Forgetting who you are. One of the tenets of allowing yourself to go through a physical earth cycle is the idea of cleaning the slate, forgetting who you are, and thus taking a journey to help you remember who you are from a new point of view. However, because of the depth of that experience in the earth cycle, you can forget who you are to the point of actually experiencing a simulation of disconnection from source. And that simulation of disconnection, of course, you're never actually disconnected, that's not possible. But the simulation of disconnection from source can seem so real that you actually don't feel your connection to source, and the lack of feeling of a connection to source translates in your reality as a lack of worthiness. You don't feel you're worthy to exist.
I see.
So that's where it came from, and the idea is, again, this is why it's a master graduating class, because you have the strength in your soul to even overcome that. And again, even if you don't in one particular lifetime, you always have another chance to do so if you really wish to. So again, it's something that souls choose because, hey, that could be a very powerful, transformational experience if I can remember that I deserve from completely forgetting that I deserve. And it's like going on a roller coaster ride and saying, well, all right, this time I sort of fell out of the roller coaster. But I'll do it again, and maybe next time I'll get the point, and I'll have the help and be open to the help that I receive to help me remember that I am worthy, I am deserving. But again, souls go through this because it's exciting and it's something that can really help you grow. The degree of limitation, again, this is why we call you the masters of limitation. The degree of limitation a soul imposes upon itself is inversely proportional to the degree to which the soul will expand if it overcomes that limitation. So you choose massive limitations because it's so exciting to imagine that if you overcome it, how fast you will expand and what lessons you will learn and how fast you will accelerate.
Story of my life. Like, my goodness. I love this. Thank you for that. And then the last question, okay, so it's what does Gen W and Gen Z need to know about each other to better relate to each other?
I think you will ask the generations about that and not us.
Okay. Sorry, girly. Well, that's it. And thank you so much. I
You are
love
so
you so
welcome.
much. Thank you.
You could start a panel of those generations and have them start talking to each other.
Hello, Tadeo.
Nania, is it time for your holotope meditation?
It certainly is.
All right. Then we will disconnect momentarily and resume transmission to take you through your holotope meditation. Thank you. All right, let us continue with our transmission regarding the next phase of open contact. As we transmitted in the last transmission, the idea is to prepare yourselves for the introduction of extraterrestrials within the course of the next 5 of your years. Assuming that each and every one of you have begun to ponder what that would be like in your lives, how you would respond to those kinds of changes in your reality, we will continue now to provide a little bit more information about the steps that may follow with the idea of open contact. However, first, we would like to address something that was brought up in the last transmission regarding the idea of what contact would be like with respect to a couple of expressions of your entertainment. It was brought up of the contrast and the comparisons between Star Wars and Star Trek. The idea is that Star Wars is representative of something that happened millions of years ago in the old Orion systems, where there was a lot of oppression, suppression, rebellion, struggle, strife, negativity, fear. The idea, as we have said, is that there are many stories playing out on Earth to help finish some of those old cycles. So the ancient Orion story is here, which is one of the reasons why, intuitively and collectively, Star Wars was created, to bring that back up into your consciousness so that you could process it, deal with it, begin to let it go. So, Star Wars represents symbolically your past. Star Trek represents symbolically your future, where you are moving into the idea of a unity, an exploration, an experience, a connection between many different species in the galaxy. The idea, of course, is that eventually you yourselves, humanity itself, will venture out among the stars with the assistance of extraterrestrial technology to become other civilizations, UFOs, to take on the process of letting them know that they are not alone in the universe. You will encounter many different kinds of civilizations, just as we have. Many of you will specialize in exactly how you approach these civilizations and become first contact specialists yourselves in the far future, in the decades to come. We have, in the past, talked about the idea of a civilization not so very far away from your own that will be, in a sense, a kind of test case for you. We have left this civilization alone. You will be the ones to make first contact with them as humanity, so that you can be trained as to how to go about that particular process, to understand, to observe, to watch, to study, to learn what their civilization is all about. So in your ships, you can begin to decide whether it is and when it is appropriate for you to approach them, how it might be appropriate for you to initiate first contact, with the dispensation of information, with sightings, so on and so forth. Programs will be laid out. You will plan, you will consult, you will confer, you will decide together in councils how you will approach new civilizations who you feel may be ready for the very beginnings of open contact for their civilization. Now, you will do it differently than we have done it, for we are evolved to a point where we have done this in a very different way. But you will have your way of doing this, and they will get to know you as a species and become familiar with themselves through your eyes eventually. The idea, going back to Star Wars and Star Trek, as to what it is that was and what it is that will be, we remind you that even in the creation of the entertainment of Star Wars, to give you your first clue that it's about your past and not your future, it begins a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. So you know intuitively it is about where you came from and not where you're going to. Now again, there are, as I said, many stories playing out, finishing up. The story of Atlantis, the story of the ancient Martian civilization, which many of your souls incarnated upon a long time ago. The destruction of their ecosystem through meteoric bombardment and other natural catastrophes rendered the planet relatively uninhabitable over a period of time. And so the souls began to incarnate, when viable, upon the earth. So you are finishing out that story as well. Those are three of the main stories that are seeking a different outcome, that are experiencing a process that can lead to a more positive outcome than was experienced, linearly speaking, in history. You come together because, again, the earth is the kind of school where stories can be told and stories can be played out in a different way, according to your choices, according to your ability to transform. Now, in the years following open contact on your planet, after the first contact specialists, such as myself, have done their job, so to speak, others from our society and other societies will also be of assistance in the process of allowing you to acclimate to the idea of interacting as a society with extraterrestrial beings. Next will come what we term the social engineers. When this channel began to bring our society through, our energy through, even though I made the initial connection due to our agreement from spirit, one of the first beings that the channel brought through was a female from my society that was termed Anima, for those who will remember. Anima is a colleague of mine, and she is a social engineer. So she will come among you with others of her kind to help you understand the idea of social engineering, which basically translates to the concept of planetary management, since you will now begin to understand your world, your entire world, as your home, and begin to understand with new technologies how to manage things on a global scale for the benefit of humanity. So planetary management will be the domain of the social engineers from our society and others who will come to aid and assist you in understanding how to transform easily, beneficially, your society, sociologically, politically, economically, so on and so forth. To distribute the idea of sustenance in a more efficient way, to experience the idea of the distribution of free energy in a more efficient way, to experience the idea of yourselves truly as global citizens, eventually retaining the idea of your cultural differences and validating and cherishing them, but erasing the idea of any political borders that you have drawn out on your planet in the years to come, in the decades ahead, so that you may travel freely around your world, so that you may understand the entire world as your home, to gain global consciousness. And that is the next step in humanity progressing towards becoming Homo Galacticus. Because as you spread out among the stars eventually, you will look back to Earth and cherish Earth and preserve Earth as your true home, so that you have that basis, you have that anchor point, so that you know that it is always there for you for quite a while, for millennia to come, until such time as it is no longer necessary for the evolution of your species, and as we said, you turn it over to other species to take advantage of the cycles of Earth for their own exploration, for their own life path, for their own soul's journey. And so it will be a progression of expansion, a progression of connection, a progression of awareness, more and more introductions of all the different ways that different species within the galaxy have of expressing themselves, from things that you might consider relatively ordinary but different, to those you would consider to be extremely exotic and almost unimaginable. We have mentioned a few of these species over time, and you will be given the opportunity to understand how many more species there are, even just in your own galaxy. There are literally millions of civilizations you have yet to discover. It is a rich treasure trove of different perspectives, different experiences, different understandings, different awarenesses, different expressions of the one source of all that is, so that you may find connectivity and communion, even though you may have extremely different understandings and experiences of how you express the idea of your reflection of all that is. There will always be that common bond on the soul level, because all souls are the same. Our souls are the same souls as your souls, the same type of souls. We all go home to the spirit world. That is where we are right now with all of you. We are playing this game in various ways in what you call physical reality, to learn, to grow, to expand existence and creation itself in all the ways that it can. But we are all the same kind of soul, all the same kind of reflection of all that is. The validation of all our differences is what will create unity among us all. To respect, to validate, to cherish as precious the differences, the different perspectives that allow you to start functioning when you connect them all together as a true holistic system. To be able to know that whatever you need exists somewhere that can be accessed, so that there is no want, so that there is no shortage, so that there is no lack. When you allow yourself to connect to all that is available to you among the stars, so that you are no longer experiencing yourselves as an isolated world, the abundance is beyond imagining to what you will have access to. The first gifts that you will be given, as precious and wondrous as they may be, will pale by comparison to what you can eventually access throughout the cosmos. You have yet to stretch your imaginations to encompass what is out here. This will be the joy of discovery, the joy of expansion of your species, to discover all that awaits you on your cosmic path, now that you have arrived at a point on your journey as a planetary species to an interplanetary one, to an interstellar one, and eventually to an intergalactic one, and eventually still to an interuniversal one, a multiversal species, multiple dimensions of experience. What awaits you is within you. Right now, allow us to help you unfold it, to help you walk that path. It is your choice. And the choice, for many of you, has been made. And that is why you will experience something very different in the introduction of open contact within the next 5 years. We thank you profoundly, deeply, with great appreciation and gratitude for allowing us, through you, to expand our galactic family. For you are precious to us, and we owe you a lot. In return, I ask you now, in what way may we continue to be of service to you? Please begin with your dialogues and questions, if you wish, or shall I say, if you dare.